The flag was up. Let's have a look at that again. And it's got to be the correct decision. Certainly offside. Right across the park. Matthew Taylor for Luton Town then. Valois. Nicely played by the Frenchman. Picked up by Taylor again. Decent looking cross. This Griffiths, a wonderful goal! Terrific stuff from Luton Town. And Carl Griffiths makes it 2-0 on the half an hour. Some neat play there by Valois. Great cross that. And a good finish from Carl Griffiths. Underneath the stretched arm of Kevin Dearden. Nothing the keeper could do there. And it's looking very much an uphill battle now for Torquay. 2-0 down, half an hour gone. This is Tully. Well, that's a good turn. And a cross in there too. Well, there's no goal! My goodness me. Kevin Nichols, I think it was. Well, the cross came in, and Nichols it was who got his head to that and steered it past Ovendale into his own net. And suddenly, Luton have thrown Torquay a lifeline. So Valois with a decent-looking cross again. It's a good header. Oh, terrific goal! Griffiths, his 5th of the season. Luton's 3rd of the night, or 3rd of the day rather. 3-1. No chance for Dearden. Once again, the Frenchman Valois involved. There's a cross. Bullet-like head of that from Carl Griffiths. And in stoppage time at the end of this first half, Luton gained back their 2-goal advantage. So Valois with the corner. Right across there and saved at the foot of the post by Dearden. Well, there's the corner. There's the shot with the outside of the boot, and that's a good stop from the Torquay keeper, who really couldn't have seen that until very late indeed. Decent cross. Well, there's the first time volley. Not a bad try that from Nichols. Well, there's the ball across, and that's a good enough volley from Mark Nichols, just rising though above Overdale's crossbar. Spring. Well, Bordeaux stopped well. No foul. Swire to Forbes again. Forbes with a cross. Griffiths with a header. Oh, terrific save. Well, Griffiths thought for all the world he had his hat-trick there. But the outstretched palm of Kevin Dearden turned that round beautifully. Spring. Well, out comes the keeper. Dearden to the rescue again. Well, let's have another look at that Dearden save. That's a good ball in there from Forbes. Terrific header. There's a long way. Oh, what about that? What about that? Jean-Louis Valois. Sacre bleu. It's 4. Well, Valois just let fly with that. And Dearden, who's done so much to keep Torquay at the races, had no chance. Russell. Now here's half a chance perhaps. So that's chipped in there. Over it comes. Oh, there was a real chance there. And finally it's cleared away. But that was turned in, and Bordeaux really had a chance. Away. Picked up though by Taylor for Luton. Early ball back in there. That's Griffiths with a header. Oh, and that's it. Terrific hat-trick. Griffiths fairly flung himself at that one. And once again, nothing Dearden could do. 5-1 and a hat-trick for Carl Griffiths. Now Russell. Cross comes in, not a bad header that. Just too much on it perhaps from Tony Badeau, but there's the cross in. Badeau with a header, that was rising all the time. So Russell with a cross. Well, there's a chance here for Torquay. That's a good save from Ovendale. Well, there's the ball in. Graham with the shot, and that's a good stop from the Luton keeper.
We didn't compete, and that's the reason why we've lost the game. Without doubt, Luton are the best team we've played so far, and they played some tremendous stuff and some good football. Good movement from midfield. If anything, they were too quick, they were too lively, and they overpowered us in midfield with their runs. They got in behind us and caused us all sorts of problems, but we're never going to win football matches unless we compete and tackle and fight to scrap for the ball. We can then start talking about our football and how we can improve when we start doing that. We didn't do that today, and that's why we've lost the game so convincingly.
So, one to forget for the goals. Time now to take our weekly stroll down memory lane. This afternoon we catch up with a player who was born in Wales, made his name up at Bristol Rovers, moved to Exeter City more than 20 years ago, and is still involved in the game today, based at Plainmoor. Most days, Frank Prince can be found passing on his knowledge of the game to Devon's school children in his role as Torquay United's football in the community officer. And Frank's certainly got plenty of knowledge to pass on. Seen here wearing the number 4 jersey, he made more than 350 league appearances in a career which involved just 2 clubs, Bristol Rovers and Exeter City.
Well, I think in the days when I played, I didn't stay more often with clubs longer. I think with the freedom of contract coming in, it changed players' views on staying, and obviously money now they can make on moving on from different club to club. It's a different game now. The money is absolutely phenomenal in the Premiership, and even the Division 1 now get fantastic money. I'd like to be playing now and playing at the same level I played at. That'd be worth more now. But I enjoyed my time at Bristol Rovers. I had 15 great years there, and obviously 2 years Exeter City as well. But the actual pitches have changed. Well, you just can't recognise them. When I played, you get to the middle of November, there's mud down the middle and it's ankle deep in mud, and players just got on with it then. And it's a different times, really.
Frank arrived at St James's Park in July 1980, when Exeter were playing in the old 3rd Division. They might not have been the greatest side in the country, but they certainly had bags of potential.
But some really good players. We had Peter Hatch, John Delvey midfield, Martin Rogers currently with Tiverton Town, and also Tony Kello, who's a great striker, great player. And I think a player that should have played higher, really. I know he went to Blackpool with Alan Borth this season, didn't quite do it there, but a player that should have really played higher, I think. He was a great player.
Like most professional footballers, it took Frank some time to find a career he enjoyed when his playing days were over.
After leaving professional football, I had 1 or 2 jobs. I was self-employed for a while, and then I was working at Langland Hospital at Dawlish. And one of my nursing colleagues there spotted an advert in the Torquay paper, and sent the advert in, and it looked interesting. I applied for it, made a few phone calls from people already doing the same job at different clubs, and I went for the interview and luckily got it, and that was 9 years ago. And I really enjoyed it. I feel like I'm putting something back to the game, that I've taken a lot out of the game. I think I'm putting a bit back now. I really enjoy my job. It's a great job.
It's obvious that Frank enjoys his daily involvement in the game. As for a possible comeback as a goalkeeper, well, the less said the better.
He was lucky.
What a keeper. Well,
Watching at Luton at the weekend, Torquay United at least managed to salvage some pride, although there was little for the fans to enthuse about in their goalless draw at Plainmoor. So all 3 Devon sides having to settle for a solitary point, but I guess all 3 will probably take
that tremendous victory, level on points with Luton and Hull, 2 behind the new leaders Rochdale. Well, it's taking time for Roy McFarlane to make his mark at Torquay United. The former Derby and England defender gradually reshaping the team to make them a more competitive outfit. Plenty of new arrivals at Plainmoor this season, and defender Lee Russell added his name to those looking to leave United this week as he went on the transfer list. So would the latest blend be good enough to get anything out of a difficult trip to Leyton Orient? Brief highlights now with commentator Andy Gilson.
Well, it's true. This is Fletcher. That must be a goal! Leon Constantine makes it 1-0. And Torquay just went to sleep there. Now here comes Torquay. That's a chance for Bordeaux. Needs a good finish. And he's rolled it in there, Tony Bordeaux. Torquay get the equaliser, 42 minutes gone. Well, an individual goal there from Bordeaux. And in swinger. But it's not away yet. There's a run on this and it's in there! A real mess, but Bordeaux puts the goals in front. 10 minutes to go. And Torquay are 2-1 to the good. There's the ball in. A real mess, and it's Bordeaux who gets on the end of it. A little bit too high. Constantine, can he turn? Now McLean. A good run this from McLean. He's going to score. No.
I thought we may have won by a more convincing margin than the 2-1. To be fair to them, they had a very good spell after we scored. They had a good 30 minutes in the first half, and they put us on the rack. And maybe they could have gone in front. We stuck at it and kept at it. And what we didn't do last week was stick at it. You know, we didn't compete as much and chase and work as hard as what we did today. And that's why we got our rewards today.
Great victory for Torquay United. Well, after the break, 75. While Paul Mariner and Billy Rafferty's goal-scoring exploits grabbed the headlines, it was centre-half and skipper Mike Green who led Argyle into the old second division. He went on to manage Torquay United, but what's he been up to since leaving Plainmoor in 1981?
And my future, the next 15, 20 years, may align in another direction. But the same chance, if I get a chance to get back in football, I shall certainly try for it.
But Mike Green never went back to football. When he left Torquay, it brought a 20-year career to an end. Since then, he's run a post office and community shop in the resort.
When I finished at Torquay, I wouldn't say I was desperate to stay in the game. In fact, I decided ultimately not to stay in the game and decided to live in Torquay and find a career away from football. People say to me these days about, do you miss the money? I said, not at all. I just was grateful that I had 20 years kicking the ball around, you know, with 20-odd blokes, and, you know, a great time.
After spells at Carlisle and Gillingham, Mike's career blossomed at Bristol Rovers and Argyle in the mid-70s. He captained both sides to promotion, and the centre-half proved to be one of Tony Waiter's most important signings at Home Park.
It was a great experience. I mean, it was a great year football-wise, but we set off a sort of very average side, a lot of new faces in the team, and it gradually developed that we realised we had a good side, and the lads got together, and of course we had two good front players who would always score goals. And we had a lot of experience at the back. Jim Fennell was the goalkeeper, Bobby Saxon, Johnny Hall, and a couple of young lads in midfield who came and then sort of proved themselves. And gradually got a fantastic team spirit, and we realised that the way the team was set up, we had a good side, and we certainly could be in the frame for promotion.
The 1974-75 season was one of the most memorable in Argyle's history. They attracted regular crowds of 20,000 as they won promotion alongside Blackburn Rovers and Charlton. Even then, it was clear that Paul Mariner was destined for a bigger stage.
Yes, I mean, even in training, I mean, as a player, you played against players, and when we should play a practice match, I should get Bobby Saxon to mark him because he was far too quick for me. I could never hang on to him. So we always thought that with his strength and his pace and his aggression and dedicated to being a success, and he was a bubbly character. So you think all the things were there. If he kept the discipline and didn't sort of let things turn his head a little bit, he was always going to go to what was the first division when I was there, Premiership these days.
After winning promotion, there were high hopes that Green and co would go on and finally reach the top flight of English football. So, what went wrong?
I think the first year we went up, and I was in the team then, and there was sort of thing of consolidation. And Paul Mariner did leave. I'm not quite sure when he left, but he left, and they started to bring other players in. We brought John Fidelity and Terry Austin from Ipswich when he went, Paul Mara went to there. Then they started bringing in, and Brian Hall came, Doug Collins, then John Craven, who were obviously star players from bigger clubs, which I guess they were brought in with the intention of moving the club on a little bit more, because we assume they've got the quality to do that. But it didn't quite work out like that. I think that's the most difficult thing, is having a good team and then trying to better it.
Mike Green has no regrets. There's still plenty of football talk across his post office counter and constant reminders of the year when the former Argyle skipper stamped his mark on promotion success. Yes, hard to believe that Roy McFarlane's side from carrying on where they left off at Leyton Orient. A busy weekend for our commentator Martin Dean.
Whelan. Cut out by Brabin. First time ball for Richardson. Could be a good one too. Marcus Richardson with a chance. Well, Gary Brabin, the new signing, almost making his mark immediately. Lovely through ball for Marcus Richardson. Have to take the shot a little early, perhaps. Just dragging it wide of the post, though. Damon Searle with the free kick. And in towards Whelan. Webb getting up with the header. And Dearden, for the first time tonight, at full stretch to make the save. Beddoe with a little touchback for Jason Rees. Beddoe wanting the return ball. Richardson, the only Torquay man in the middle, although Hockley is arriving on the far post. Rees with the long, long cross. A little too long, or is it? Well, it almost fell for Hockley. Just a worrying moment or two then for Darryl Flahavan in the Southend goal. Now Graham played wide for Jason Rees. There's space for him to get across in if he wants to. Hockley's made a good run. Might come for Richardson. Richardson trying the shot, and it's gone in from Marcus Richardson. Well, the new striker makes his presence felt. And Torquay United have the lead. Hockley playing it back for Dearden, whose clearance wasn't the best. Webb trying to keep possession, surrounded by yellow shirts, and he's now been fouled. The kick has been given. And will be taken forward because of the protest, so Hutchins, Johnson and Mayer poised over it. It's going to be Hutchins to curl it, and he's curled it in! Carl Hutchins. This is David Graham. Looking to try the driven effort. The bounce seemed to deceive Flahavan. And David Graham has made it 2-1. Well, Flahavan looked as if he was completely wrong-footed then by the bounce. David Graham finding a little bit of space just to run at that Southend defence. Decided to chance his arm, and it paid off handsomely.
3 good points, that's all there was tonight, because, you know, sadly there wasn't much else to give our supporters. I think probably on the odd occasion, and I do mean the odd occasion, we played a good bit of football. A lot of hard work by Marcus Richardson. I think the crowd are starting to like him because he gives you everything, and he's very genuine in what he tries to do. But there wasn't much to cheer tonight in terms of our football and the overall performance.
That second successive 2-1 victory has taken Torquay up into the top half of the table for the first time this season. Argyle, though, down to 5th after their draw at Oxford.
So another good win for Exeter. Now, our final stop this afternoon is Boothbury Park, home of Hull City. Torquay United's recent revival has taken them up into the top half of the table, but only just. Yesterday, Roy McFarlane's side were up against a big spending Hull team that are tipped by the bookies to get promoted. So, a real test for the Gulls. Torquay started the match in impressive form. Gary Brabin looked determined to make a big impression against the side that had released him last season, and he was to be in the thick of the action throughout the afternoon. Hull, as you'd expect from a side that spent a lot during the summer, always looked dangerous up front. But Torquay defence has grown in stature since that heavy defeat at Luton, and they seemed capable of weathering anything the Tigers could throw at them. The big talking point in the first half came when Hull were awarded a penalty after David Graham was adjudged to have brought down Julian Johnson in the box. It's hard to tell from this angle what contact was made. But at the end it didn't matter because Kevin Dearden proved to be Torquay's hero. He guessed correctly and saved Laurie Dudfield's resulting spot kick. That penalty save seemed to inspire the Gulls, and Tony Beddoe and Marcus Richardson had chances to put them 1-0 up. The match now became quite open, with both sides looking dangerous, but no clear-cut chances, so 0-0 at half-time. Torquay were to come unstuck with just 15 minutes of the match to go when Michael Reddy scored within minutes of coming on as a substitute. He's on a month's loan at Hull from Sunderland. Goals in the Premiership never seem to come this easy. If that was bad for Torquay, things got worse when Gary Brabin was sent off in the last minute after this touchline clash with Hull's Julian Johnson. Brabin had been booked for an earlier foul but got an automatic red. He should have known better, and Torquay should have done better considering the amount of work they put in. And that result means Torquay have slipped down to 15th position. Exeter are in 22nd place, but the Grecians are just 2 points off a mid-table spot.
The man who swapped Plainmoor for Filbert Street and Old Trafford. 30 years ago, Franco Farrell took on the biggest managerial job in club football. All a far cry from his early days on the south coast. As Franco Farrell enjoys his retirement in Torquay, he can look back at a football career that lasted 33 years. It started as a player with West Ham, Preston and the Republic of Ireland, and finished with a return to Plainmoor as general manager. In between, the small matter of taking over from the legendary Matt Busby at Old Trafford. Frank took his first steps into soccer management at Weymouth and then Torquay in the early 60s.
We got promotion in our first year in 1965, became a very good team in the third division, brought a lot of quality players in, ex-first division players like John Bond and Ken Brown, Tony Scott, and then we already had some good players, John Benson, people like that. And it was a very good time to be manager of Torquay United. We got gates up to 10,000. We used to play on Saturday night, which was an innovation at that time. And it was a very exciting time.
Success on the south coast brought wider recognition for O'Farrell. He went on to win the second division championship and reached the cup final with Leicester before he got the call from Old Trafford. The size of the United job was clear even before he left his seat in the Filbert Street stand.
It's your first confrontation, really, as a manager with players. This is your main problem, really, dealing with players, handling men. Then beyond that, of course, is getting successful results with the players that you have under you.
Prophetic words. It wasn't long before he faced the biggest test of his managerial life. Not only were star players like Bobby Charlton and Dennis Law coming to the end of their top-flight careers, he also had to deal with a certain George Best. That's when he turned up, of course.
I had a long interview with George, and we talked about the reasons why he stayed away from training last week, and as a result of that, he apologised, of course, and I've inflicted some punishment on him. He has been fined 2 weeks' salary. He's got to train every afternoon as well as morning this week. George Best was a marvellous player. I mean, you see some of the things George done on the football field, he'd have the hair standing in the back of your neck. He's a fantastic player. And a very likeable lad, and a very, very nice lad in many ways. When he was in the club, he was no trouble, but of course he was a distraction when he left the club, and maybe didn't turn up for training sometimes, which took up a lot of your time explaining why he wasn't at the club.
It all ended with Best being put on the transfer list after a dramatic board meeting at Old Trafford. But with Matt Busby still involved in decision-making, it came as no surprise that O'Farrell's time at the club lasted no more than 18 months.
The difficulty was that when I made decisions which needed to be made in dropping players at times, the manager picks the team, and then he should have the support of everyone in the club. But I remember dropping Bobby Charlton one time, and I had a discussion with him later, and he said I wouldn't have dropped Bobby Charlton. Now, if he wanted to make those decisions, he should have stayed on as the manager. And by he supporting the player, when the manager makes a decision, he's undermining the manager. And that must have happened on a number of occasions. So in that respect, like, it was bad, yeah. And then when I got sacked, they were very vindictive because they wouldn't pay me compensation. I had to sign on the dole, something I had never done since I left school, and they didn't settle my contract for 9 months, just before the case came to court. So a great club, great fans. I enjoyed my time there. Some difficulties, but at the end of the day, they proved to be, the people in the boardroom proved to be very vindictive.
O'Farrell went on to manage the Iranian national team before returning to Torquay as general manager in the late 70s. He stayed in the resort with wife Anne ever since. So a lifetime of great footballing memories for the man who really wanted to be an engine driver in Cork. Yeah, some great memories from one of the game's best-loved former managers. Well, current Torquay boss Roy McFarlane's bringing all his experience to bear on the squad of 2001. His latest target, a home win over struggling Hartlepool. Martin Dean was on hand to see if it was mission accomplished.
Hockley with the throw, finding Gary Brabbin. Now Hockley again, he's got into a little bit of space. Can he deliver a decent cross here? He did, right towards the near post, and that went tantalisingly past Anthony Williams, off his own defender. Ricky Barron it was at the near post, just stuck out a boot, could have gone anywhere, fortunately for him. And away for the corner. David Graham will take it. And it was Tony Beddoe, I think, coming in with a header. A little bit of a bang in the face as he went up. That was a clear opportunity for Beddoe. Good corner from David Graham. Beddoe meeting it fairly squarely. Putting the ball over the top. Arneson with a little cross in towards Adam Boyd. First attempt blocked. Might get another one in. He did, but it was well wide. And Adam Boyd has made quite an impression since he broke into the side, showing there how dangerous he can be. Now Lee, ball over the top towards Cannaville, and Woods having to come back quickly to make the clearance. Adam Boyd this time with the corner. Kill towards the far post. Brabbin was in there, didn't get it away very well. I think it was Robinson who came in with the shot. Well, Robinson hasn't had too many opportunities anywhere so far this afternoon, but he's getting in there on his trusty left foot. Not quite so trusty this time, though. Woods. Taken away by Graham Lee. Brabbin battling for it. This is Woosley. Richardson holding off one challenge. Still going, Marcus Richardson. Might try the shot this time. For the first time in the game, I think. Anthony Williams having to actually make a save. Ironic cheers, I think, from the Torquay faithful. It was Marcus Richardson who rather belatedly forced the goalkeeper into action. Making the challenge. Now Brabbin forward towards Graham. They're winning it back. This is Boyd inside for Tinkler. Might try the shot from there. And that's almost deceiving Dearden. Got plenty behind it in the end, but one of those, it just bounced a little awkwardly in front of the goalkeeper. Left him embarrassed. This is Cannaville. A little bit of space for him. Brabbin wants it square. Now Hockley. Rabin looking to get the cross in this time. Kevin Hill coming in on the far post, got the header in. Well, not exactly at full stretch, but Williams again forced into slightly more serious action. Tinkler with a little header inside. Oh, and a good chance. Possibly the best we've seen so far. Well, it was Gordon Watson who put the ball over the top. That really is the closest we've come to a goal in what's been a pretty disappointing game so far. There's Lee with the free kick. Moved in towards Tinkler. McNeil getting up just above him with the header. Now Hockley with a chance to get it away. Robinson miscuing completely. Richardson looking for space to turn. He's found Brandon. Graham has taken up a great position in the middle. Brandon might go himself. David Graham! And the best move of the match finally breaks the deadlock. Well, Torquay perhaps getting a little bit of the luck of the bounce to start with. But then Chris Brandon showing plenty of enterprise, getting away from his marker. Kept his head. And a precision ball, giving David Graham the simplest of touches. Brandon back for Steve Woods. Looking to just play themselves out of trouble now. Brandon forward for Graham. People looking a little more stretched than they have. Back towards Cannaville. It'll come for Brandon. Chance here perhaps for him to get a shot in. Oh, did he take too long? Yes, he did really. Rabin with the little chip. Well, Brandon had the opportunity. Just over-egged the pudding a little bit, trying to find a clearer opening. And by the time he got that far, it was too late.
If we had the choice, if we had the chance, I'm certain the chairman wouldn't do it, but I'd like to pay all our spectators their money back because we didn't play today and we didn't perform today. I got a number of shouts in the second half from our supporters saying, bring him off, bring him off. There was that many I could have brought off. I didn't have enough subs to change them.
I mean, can you put your finger on what went wrong today?
I just think that we were not a threat up front. I thought we were very, very poor. I've used the word almost from the start that I think we're a little bit toothless. I mean, I brought Marcus Richardson here, and today he's been very poor. I don't think, in a sense, he's been genuine in his challenges, and has not been what I would call the normal Marcus Richardson. And it was a good chance today, I think, you know, to progress up the league, and we have done. We've got the 3 points, but in that sense, without doubt, undeservedly.
A win for Torquay that keeps them in the top half of the table. Plymouth now second after that great win at Mansfield. Argyle just 2 points behind the leaders Rochdale. It's pretty tight down at the other end of the table, just 2 points separating the bottom 7 clubs. Hartlepool now propping up the rest after that defeat at Plainmoor. Exeter just above them. Well, that's
from the foot of the table with a much-needed win against Bristol Rovers. The only goal coming from Jeff Breslin's right-footed kick from the edge of the penalty area. The win helps acting boss John Cornforth's chances of securing the manager's job. But last night didn't go so well for the Gulls. Things started to unravel when Sean Hankin was sent off for violent conduct. With a man down, Mansfield Town took their chance. Chris Greenacre opened the scoring after a controversial free kick, and 4 minutes from the end, Wayne Corden's 25-yard effort secured the win.
Now, Torquay today...
In a 2-0 win for Roy McFarlane's team, and it was watched by Seth Conway.
In comes the corner. It's been met well, and Dearden just about does enough. Well, it looked there for a moment as though Matt Redmar was going to give Shrewsbury the lead. It was a firm header, and in the way on the line was Carl Murray, but the most important man was the Torquay keeper Kevin Dearden. He kept it out. Little break for Rioch. Jemson. Oh, it's a lovely step over for Jajilka. Now back in for Ryan Lowe. Oh, what a goal that would have been. It was a well-worked move. Nigel Jemson, all his experience, just stepped over, and Jajilka found Lowe, and Lowe wasn't so far away from finding the net. Rioch's throw. Header from Jemson. It's going to deflect inadvertently into the path of David Graham. He's going the long way round, but it might just benefit. He'll get another go, and it's in despite the attempts of Greg Rioch. David Graham, with a fantastic run, has given Torquay the lead. Well, he set off, he beat one, he beat another, he got the shot away, and then as it came back to him, he kept his head, and Greg Rioch couldn't prevent him getting number 5 for this campaign. Many so plentiful were the chances for Shrewsbury, but Torquay got a chance for a second here for Neville Roach. Well, Shrewsbury will be kicking themselves. They've wasted the chances and they've been made to pay. It's Torquay 2, Shrewsbury 0.